Wow, what an assault from the Islanders. That was something that took everyone by surprise, not least the crowd that's gathered in Dharamshala. Lovely, cool, though damp evening there, and certainly they wouldn't have expected it to rain sixes. There was supposed to be some rain around earlier, but when Sri Lanka put into bat first, all of us were predicting the 120s, 30s, 40s, and it was Ajay Jadeja's favorite score, 183, bang on for 5 wickets, 72. Let's put things in perspective in the last 4 overs, 18 runs and over with a top quality death bowling attack from India. And Dasun Shanaka pretty much single handedly, along with Nisanka earlier, took them apart. Here's a look at the innings progression. There you can see at the end, and 7 to 10 as well, I think is a very key phase because after the power play, which was a quiet power play, they decided to step on the gas. And then they just stopped for petrol or diesel and then went into top gear in sports car mode. Here we are on Cricbuzz Live to assess the Sri Lankan innings having put into bat by Rohit Sharma. I'm in the company of Dinesh, Karthik, and Zaheer Khan. DK, while we were in the middle of that assault at the end, I think in the 18th over, we were chatting off air and you said decent total. Have you revised that after the 20th over?
No, I think 183 is obviously from where they were. It looks like a very big score, but I can promise you it's a very gettable score. You got to understand that in Dharamshala, the ball travels a little more than expected. Why did the bowlers get hit? Because a typical black soil wicket with a little bit of grass where the slow ones don't hold up. So when the slow ones don't hold up, obviously Harshal Patel's main potent weapon, which is a slow ball, isn't as effective. And that's why even if he beat them in the air, off the wicket as well, the ball slid on enough for a Dasun Shanaka to go through with the shot and obviously ended up hitting those big sixes. Add to the fact that the ball travels a little further, and that's why you saw one hit the roof as well. So some good hitting. Let's not take away Dasun Shanaka's brilliant innings, but also you got to understand the wicket is an absolute belter. There will be some swing and seam in the first, not seam so much, swing in the first 3-4 overs, even if we have a quiet start. I'm pretty sure if we get going, we have to understand they're just playing the one spinner. So it's a pretty one-dimensional bowling attack in many ways with a lot of fast bowlers. Once you get going, the big overs will roll in.
Well, one thing's for sure, it's going to be a challenge, and I'm sure it's a challenge that Team India will relish. We've got the finisher's perspective, someone who knows what it is to hit a six of the last ball of an innings. Let's get the bowler's perspective on it. Zaheer Khan, how would you have bowled on that particular surface, seeing the ball flying to all parts?
Well, first of all, it's great to see that that competition which we are talking about. In the series, it was important that Sri Lanka pushes India to that level, and also makes them really fight hard to win the series. So India still has a chance of winning the series here today itself, and they have to really play a good brand of cricket, and it's going to be an exciting game for sure now from here on in, because we are not expecting this from Sri Lanka. And Sri Lanka, when you look at Sri Lankan team, what all they've done well in this particular game is commendable. Because when you saw initially, there was a swing on offer. It wasn't easy for batters to get in. They got in. They stuck there. The power play was slow. 32 runs just in 6 overs is not a typical start for T20 games. But what went in their favor was the top order. Which we are talking about has not been setting that platform. Today we saw Nisanka going through and through, playing almost 3 phases of the game. That really had a huge impact. So one batter going through, making 70-80 runs. Gunatilaka again putting that pressure, being the aggressor when Nisanka was batting there, gave Nisanka that cushion to take his time. Those are the things which Sri Lanka did very well to get themselves right now at the first half in this position where they can really push and put this Indian batting order under pressure to chase down this total. And fantastic finish by Shanaka. So I think when you look at the whole first innings right now, rather than looking at what Indian bowlers did or where they went wrong, I think it's credit to Sri Lankan batters that they were able to counter whatever tactics Indian bowlers had. On the hindsight, GB, there are always things which you can look at. You can just say that Sri Lankan batters use the pace very well, and Indian bowlers could have been a little more proactive around that. Setting those fields, maybe have fine leg third man back. Make them force the issue down the ground rather than letting them use the pace. Those are the finer detailing, but in the heat of the game, you at times miss these things, and you're not expecting these batters to play in a fashion which they played and the way they finished the innings. So
Well,
there
I
is
think it,
a little bit of homework for bowlers for sure. But I think when I'm looking at the first innings, there is a lot of credit to the Sri Lankan batters than criticizing the bowling.
absolutely. I'm sure we'll have a little chat about the Indian bowlers at the end of the game, given that it's not a huge break, but just the intent, I think, DK, if we have to wrap up the Sri Lankan effort. Of course, Dashan Shanaka hit some great shots. The surface did help, but it was the intent, the very fact that they could change their batting order on the fly. Danushka comes back. He likes batting up front. Send him up there. Kamil Mishara, they sort of hit him at number 4 in a sense. So the intent was there, and then they finished it off.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed the way they took on the bowlers post the power play. The ball was swinging, so they couldn't get it off initially for the first 4 overs. But after that, between overs 5 to 10, they really applied pressure on the bowlers, took them on, played some brave shots. The good thing, I know Gunatilaka got out, but even though he had got 16 runs that over, he backed himself to hit a Jadeja again, which shows the intent. He believed in himself. That's very important. Sometimes in T20, it's not about being clever. It's about knowing who you can take on. And if you put the bowler under pressure and try and keep him as much as possible under pressure. And, Pathum Nisaka, he's done this role over a period of time where he doesn't start off in a frenzy, but finds a way to just bat through the overs. And at the end, you can see he played some cheeky shots. Some of the shots that he played to Bumrah are brilliant shots. I mean, using the pace, just as Zach said, and that was very clever on his part as well. And then obviously, a top quality finish by Dasan Shanaka. I mean, he's got long levers. You can see if he hits a ball, it stays hit. So credit to Sri Lanka. I think they came with a bit of a spunk about them today when they came to bat and delivered. And they, in many ways, have given the bowlers enough to obviously, make a game out of this.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. It was a quiet power play, remember, for Team Sri Lanka. Then they kicked off in the 7th over, and in the final 4 overs, they got 72. So, what is India's approach likely to be? This is the time when we've got our predictions horribly wrong. We went high, it came low. When we went low, they went high. So, it's all too confusing, Zach. So, to try and make up for it, let's get a little power play prediction in for Team India, which I think, in a sense, will determine what we feel Rohit Sharma and Ishan Kishan's effort, approach will be.
I would say 45 for no loss.
45 and 6, about 13 more than Sri Lanka. DK, can they get more than that?
I will say 56 for 1.
56. Wow, that's I think that's more where India wants to be. I'll just be diplomatic and squeeze somewhere in between and put in a 52. Because that's kind of in the range where they should be. I could have gone lower. It'll be too low. High would really take an effort from them. But there it is. So I also feel we will outloss. But that's just for a tiebreaker. All we know is that India have a bit of a mountain to climb. Yes, not the beautiful Dhauladhar mountains in the background, just a mountain set by Sri Lanka, who don't have too many of their own, just lovely beaches. 184 the target at the start of the innings. 10th over, it'll be a critical time to assess how far India have got at the moment. Rohit Sharma, Ishan Kishan are out there. That's all we have from Cricbuzz Live.